Good evening and welcome to the news roundup for Tuesday the 18th of July. Before we get into the news, please remember to like this video, share your views in the comments, and share the video with your family and friends.
Reach them! Always make sure the message reach them!
Now for the news in detail. The Independent Commission of Investigations INDECOM has commenced a probe into the fatal shooting of two men by the police in Red Ground, Negril, Westmoreland on Monday evening. They have been identified as 40-year-old Richard Mosley and 25-year-old Shane Grandison, both of Red Ground. The police report that information was received that a man sporting a dreadlocks hairstyle was seen brandishing a gun in Negril. About 6:10 p.m., the police say cops intercepted a motor vehicle fitting the description in which the man was traveling in the Red Ground area and blocked its path. They further stated that a man exited the vehicle and opened fire at the police before escaping into bushes. The police returned the fire, and it was later discovered that the driver and the passenger in the front seat of the vehicle were shot. They were rushed to hospital where they were pronounced dead upon arrival.
I am Deputy Superintendent Sean J. Mitchell. I'm the Zone 4 Commander for both the Negril and Little London police stations. Sometime last evening we had an incident in the Red Ground area where two men were fatally shot by the police during a confrontation. A firearm was recovered during that incident. At this moment, relatives are protesting the death of at least one of the persons who were involved in that incident. And as such, they have gathered here just outside the police station. The Independent Commission of Investigation is currently conducting an independent probe of the circumstances surrounding the shooting incident last night. And we expect that at the end of the day, the truth will be revealed and we're able to at least provide some solace for the relatives and friends of the deceased persons.
Following the shooting, upset Red Ground residents lashed out at the police, accusing cops of killing the men in cold blood, and claimed that both victims were not troublemakers.
Shane is a jovial, nice young man. He might anybody rap. Even the other day I was at the cemetery selling and him come and he said, Shane, you want one, you good? And I was like, man. And he said, pick up yourself a long time, I don't see any rain. Shane always working. Always. If the police them have a ticket over there, so for Shane, maybe I want a speeding ticket, mama. Them don't have anything else over there, so for the little boy. So them came innocently. And this is one when me I swear for, then kill Shane innocently. Shane wasn't no gunman, and the police them a tell lie for the woman pity. That's all me have to say.
Very good guy, that can't even kill him.
Where rule they say serve and protect. One on the good one who kill him. When I only if you save him. Wicked act.
I went inside there to speak to Miss Michelle. I introduced myself and gave her my name, gave her the name of my son. That is it. When we were at the morgue from about 8 o'clock last night, and about a couple minutes to 5, the police from the CIBC, I think it's SAV, came there, and all they said is, your name is Ingrid Grandison, and I said yes. Your number is XYZ, and I said yes, and that was it.
A mother and her son were shot dead by gunmen on St. John's Road in Spanish Town, St. Catherine on Monday night. They have been identified as 50-year-old Georgia Coleman, a businesswoman from St. John's Road, and 21-year-old Jerome Justin Walters, a bus conductor from Railway Lane, both in Spanish Town. It was reported that around 7:45 p.m., the two were at the mother's business place when two men rode up on a bike and opened gunfire, hitting them both. Police said Walters received the gunshot wounds to his upper body. Coleman ran and collapsed at the side of an unfinished building. She also sustained gunshot wounds to her upper body. Both victims were taken to the hospital where they were pronounced dead. No motive has yet been established for the gun attack, the police said. A diplomatic squabble has been simmering between Washington and Kingston over Jamaica's refusal to accredit the spouse of an American diplomat. The dispute is threatening to sour diplomatic relations between the two traditional allies. Earlier this year, the United States government wrote to the Jamaican government seeking its approval for the married partner of a diplomat about to be posted to Jamaica and who is in a same-sex relationship to be given diplomatic immunity and all the privileges of a diplomat. It is believed that the Jamaican government did not respond to the request in a timely manner. When the US sent another diplomatic note demanding a response, the Jamaican government responded rejecting the request. A senior government source said that an approval of the request would mean Jamaica recognizes same-sex marriages, which is illegal in this country. It is believed that the US then responded rejecting a request from the Jamaican government to extend the stay of 3 diplomats in Jamaica's embassy and consulates in the United States. The US served notice that the trio must leave immediately after their 5-year diplomatic visa expires. This is in contrast to what now obtains, where extension to diplomatic visas for Jamaican diplomats beyond the 5-year period are routine. Among those affected are Jamaica's ambassador to the US, Audrey Marks, and Consul General Oliver Meir, based in Miami, who the Americans say must leave and return to Jamaica this year. It is not known what other diplomatic measures, if any, the US government might take against Jamaica in light of the government's refusal to grant immunity to the spouse of one of its diplomats. St. Catherine Parish Court Judge Natalie Curry Dixon has asked for documentation on the criminal history of Kenyan Roman Catholic priest Lawrence Muvengi, who is accused of the alleged sexual abuse of a 12-year-old girl. The request was made today when the 39-year-old made his first court appearance. Muvengi, who is charged with rape, sexual grooming, having sexual intercourse with a person under 16, and abduction, was remanded to return to court on July 19th. Allegations are that Muvengi sexually abused a child on the compound of a church which is located in Portmore, St. Catherine, on several occasions in April. The matter was reported to the police's Center for Investigation of Sexual Offences and Child Abuse, CISOCA. An investigation was launched, which resulted in the arrest of the clergyman. He was formally charged following a question and answer session. A man was shot and killed in Clayton Heights, Spanish Town in St. Catherine on Monday evening. Cops have only identified the victim so far as a gas boss brother. Reports are that about 7 p.m., the man was standing near a bus stop along the roadway when he was pounced upon by unknown assailants who opened fire at him. The police were summoned, and upon their arrival, the man's body was found with what appeared to be gunshot wounds. Investigations are ongoing. The St. James police are reporting that an unidentified man was shot and killed during a shootout with cops in Maroon Town on Tuesday morning. The deceased was among a group of armed men who opened gunfire on lawmen while they carried out operations in a section of the community. The police say the incident occurred about 3:30 a.m. and ensued for several hours. The unidentified male was discovered suffering from gunshot wounds at the end of the shooting. An illegal firearm was taken from him, and he was taken to hospital where he was pronounced dead. The Independent Commission of Investigations, INDICOM, has commenced an investigation into the matter. The Kingston West Police seized a firearm and several rounds of ammunition during an operation along Sunlight Street, Kingston 13 on Monday. Reports from the Denham Town Police are that about 6:30 p.m., a team conducted a snap raid at premises in the area. During the search, one black Intratec 9mm pistol along with 16 9mm rounds and one M16 magazine were recovered in the hollow of an ackee tree. No one was arrested in relation to the seizure. A man was shot and killed in Flanker, St. James on Monday morning. Investigators say 40-year-old Ricardo Spence, otherwise called Richie Rich or Canadian, was visiting his girlfriend about 9 o'clock when he was attacked and shot by unknown assailants along the Claude Clark Main Road in Coral Gardens, St. James. No motive has yet been established for the attack. Portland recorded its 9th murder of the year following the stabbing death of a man as he made purchases at a bookstore on Harbour Street in Port Antonio on Monday afternoon. The deceased has been identified as Robert Grant, a resident of Harper's Lane in the parish. Reports are that about 4:05 p.m., the now deceased went into the bookstore at Morgan's Plaza to purchase items and was standing at the counter when he was attacked by a man. Grant retaliated, and during a tussle he was allegedly stabbed multiple times. He later fell to the ground. The police found him face down in a pool of blood. They transported him to the Port Antonio Hospital where he was pronounced dead on arrival. A man known only as Gaza is being sought by the police for questioning in relation to the murder. Meanwhile, Parish Commander Superintendent Lloyd Darby is again appealing to residents to settle their disputes peacefully and to seek the intervention of the police before taking matters into their own hands. Cops assigned to the Hunts Bay Criminal Investigations Branch have charged a man in connection with the shooting of a woman in the head at a bar located on Spanish Town Road. 26-year-old Javoni McLeish, otherwise known as Babyface of Spanish Town Road, has been charged with wounding with intent, possession of prohibited weapon, unauthorized possession of ammunition, and using a prohibited weapon to commit a felony. Reports from the Hunts Bay CIB are that about 4 p.m. on Sunday the 2nd of July, the accused man rode up to the business establishment and shot the woman in the head. The woman was rushed to the hospital where she remains in serious but stable condition. The police say the accused man was charged based on an eyewitness statement and a question and answer session in the presence of his lawyer on the 13th of July. His court date is being finalized. Craig Barton, a 40-year-old businessman known as Biggs, was killed in a drive-by shooting outside his workplace in Cockburn, Penn St. Andrew. He was sitting on a bench with his best friend when armed men in a motorcar drove up and opened fire, hitting both men several times. They were rushed to the hospital, but Barton succumbed to his injuries 2 days later, while his friend was treated and released. Barton's aunt, who identified herself as Miss Palmer, expressed deep grief over the loss of her nephew. She emphasized that Barton was not involved in any trouble and was a kind person loved by residents in the community of First Bedrock, where he lived. The incident has left residents in fear as they claim to have been targeted by outside forces for several years, though this theory has not been confirmed by the police. The police, led by Superintendent Damian Manderson, commanding officer for the St. Andrew South Police Division, are actively investigating the case and have reported progress in their efforts. Nevertheless, the Cockburn Pen community remains tense in the aftermath of the shooting. In business, NCB Financial Group Limited has announced the departure of CEO Patrick Gilton and Deputy CEO Dennis Cohen. Both executives have proceeded on vacation leave for 3 weeks by agreement. During this period, interim and permanent arrangements will be made for their roles. The chairman, Michael Leachin, will temporarily take on some executive responsibilities. The company acknowledged the service of Hilton and Cohen during their long tenure, which saw the group achieve record levels of financial performance. Despite the changes, the company emphasizes the strength of its overall leadership team, which includes several other experienced executives. Speculation about a potential shake-up arose when Leachin cut short his leave of absence and with the announcement of the executives' vacations. Leachin had previously expressed unhappiness over the company's failure to declare a dividend for more than 2 years. In sports, the second fastest man in history and the 2011 World Championships gold medalist Johan Blake led a Jamaican clean sweep in the men's 100 meter on Tuesday in Hungary. Blake, who ran a season's best of 10.01 seconds last weekend in Italy, ran 10.04 seconds to finish ahead of runner-up Akeem Blake, who ran 10.09 seconds, and the national champion Rohan Watson, who clocked 10.10 seconds. Raheem Ford, who was making his European debut, was sixth in 10.19 seconds. And on the entertainment scene, a Thanksgiving service was held at the Holy Cross Church in St. Andrew today for the late Lester Sterling, a founding member of the Scatterlights Band. Sterling passed away at age 87 in Florida and had expressed his wish to be buried in Kingston. Sterling was a highly regarded musician, having developed his skills at the Alpha Boys School in Kingston. He was known for his contributions as a trumpeter and a saxophonist, and was part of popular songs like Bangarang, Rockfort Rock, Guns of Navarone, Swing Easy, and Ball of Fire. And that is it for your news roundup for today. We would appreciate you liking this video, leaving a comment, and sharing the video with your family and friends. Have a good evening, and see you next time.